Where's somebody else with it? So, what did you learn from yesterday?
I've gotten used to putting the huh?
How you doing? Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. How are you?
Oh, come on, Ricky, thank you. I got come on, man. If you had a lacrosse stick, you would have got it. It's nice, right? Everybody thinks it's an iPhone. Y'all are crazy gangbangers. This is my phone.
Hey, Karen. How you doing, bro?
Yes. I'm about to be in Chantilly today.
Chantilly.
Chantilly, Millie?
Chantilly.
Yes. Where's Chantilly in regards to? Really?
Yeah.
Is it farther than DC? Is it closer? It's closer? Great.
Is it Chantilly?
You sure?
No, it's further to DC than it is to Chantilly.
Is Herndon or Chantilly closer to DC? That's what I think.
Oh, Chantilly's further. I thought you meant right here. You're sitting right here.
Sure.
Yeah, you're sitting here in Herndon.
Agina. Sonina. 4. Come sit in front with us. Hey.
I'm doing good.
I'm looking for more than your hands on.
Oh, I'm getting them ready. I'm getting them ready.
Bet you'll be good too. Best marketing campaign I've heard of in the last 30 years.
Who gotta go to Chantilly? That's 2. Huh? That's 2. Oh, no.
See? Kel.
Ooh.
New phone?
Yeah, because all the iPhone people were like,
How are you?
not to talk to
That bubble is still green.
Huh? What do you like? What bubble?
I was,
For real? Good. In the state of I don't want nobody in my business. You know what I mean?
crazy people. I like
Come on, man.
Oh, those, yeah. Oh my gosh. They were, oh my gosh. I made some new friends. They were playing Beyonce's Lion King album. And on the rooftop, like as soon as we came out on the rooftop, I was like, oh, Lion King right now. Yeah. I had to come over. Yeah.
How you doing?
Drop off.
Hey, man. How you doing?
How long did you do that?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Y'all be so present. I'm raising daughters.
Right,
The other thing is
And then
Called Mood Forever.
on Saturday.
Or Shay. I am a mood forever.
Yeah.
Bow down.
What do you do?
You tell us.
Something hurts my butt. Love
You know what I mean?
But they're all on your list.
Back? Max?
It was raining.
Let me see.
You told me, well, so you put it on. I said, what was it?
The room comes on both sides.
Station didn't come. Man. Well, now, all of it. Where we going?
On the other side, man. It's better for you. On the other side. Good pictures, bro. On the Android, man. It's good for you. It's good for your soul.
This world is already hard enough.
So anyway, I had problems. And I said, my inspector.
Oh my God.
So we're all of a sudden I get a notice that this was. He says I should around the border right now. This guy had done
Oh my God. Right, absolutely.
So after a couple of months of we were on like now, real so we go into
This means blah, blah, blah.
Oh, it's on YouTube. It's live. Yeah, it's live right now.
What? I've been editing some of it.
Did you send them the list? I sent them the list.
I haven't sent it yet because I wasn't able to export to my iPad.
Oh,
Excel. You did it?
yeah.
Okay.
He did it. And I was talking to his dad last night, and right before I left the phone, I was like, "Hey, send me your email." And we brought it. He's like, "Sure."
Okay. Maybe I'll have to talk about it. All right, good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
All right, awesome. All right, so let me go over a couple announcements. All right, so I announced this I called a couple people individually, but my wife actually went out of town, so tomorrow's pool party, I just don't feel comfortable doing it without her. I know there'll be people to help, but I'm gonna move it. So not next Saturday, because that's month end, but the Saturday after that. So for the people that qualified, you can text me if you're unsure. Now we have a little bit of time. It'll be Saturday, September 7th. Okay, for the people that qualified. It was something I know it's in July. I'll get the numbers out to you. The qualification dates, I believe, varies depending on RBP and what level you're at. But text me if you're unsure, if you qualified or not, if you may have. I know it was at least 1,000. I think it was the last 2 weeks of July. But so everybody, if you think you have teammates too that also may be eligible, just let them know. Saturday, September 7th. Okay. Also training next Friday. We will not have training. So there'll be no Friday training, and next Saturday training will be at our new location in Tysons. We'll get that address out to you during the week, but it will not be here. We're going to start moving out of here. We've already started, but the chairs, everything will be gone by this week. So next Saturday will be in Tysons Corner. Okay. Next Saturday, not tomorrow. Next Saturday. All right. Tomorrow we will be here. All right. Yeah. Now, it'll still be 9:30. I said it's it'll be a bigger meeting room. It'll be our first time next Saturday, so I'm sure there'll be a little hiccups and growing pains, but just be flexible. I think it'll be a good move for all of us. We do have some of the people that are currently in this office they may be getting rid of stuff. So if anybody wants anything, ask. There might be some furniture that either we're going to just have somebody else come, or maybe you can just take it. So I know I talked to a couple of people. So if you do have some, like a home office or something that needs some storage stuff, let us know. All right, there might be some stuff that we will. Yo, we got chairs here. All right, so let's get started. So, I was thinking about what we have going on right now and where we are. And, something I say all the time is this business is a series of adjustments, right? You come in and your ability to adapt and make changes and adjust will help you course correct. And I wanted to go through some of the major adjustments that I have made that help me. Especially, I always try to put myself in a new person's shoes, which is extremely difficult, but I try to do that. And hopefully you can learn from my mistakes, right? Obviously you're going to make your own mistakes, but a wise person learns from others, and I've made all the mistakes in the world, right? I mean, I think that's a natural part of business. And if you can make the same mistakes less frequently, right? You're going to make a couple, and you're going to make some of the same ones I do, right? But I think that will help you, all right? So everything is predicated on two things, okay? Or actually three. Okay, one, that you're going to prospect. Okay, now how you prospect, I don't care. We've been going through some methods over the last several weeks. We're not going to go through one today, but I will review the ones that we've talked about that people you can see on some of the activity threads within my base shop people are using, right? We talked about Facebook. We talked about Steam phone calls. We talked about face-to-face. We talked about networking events, right? I know some people, they just were asking me at a job fair, right? I mean, you can do job fairs, meetup.com. We talked about a bunch of different stuff that you can do. But I think at a minimum, okay, if you want to grow this business, it's 12 hours a week you have to prospect, okay? Not what I used to do in college where I'd study and I'd have the TV on and I'd play a game of ping pong or play a game of cards while I was studying. Friends would come over while I was studying. That was half-blooded studying. When I really had to study, I went to the library. And you got focused, and an hour of library studying is like 6 hours or 10 hours of at home mentally studying, even though I really wasn't studying. Okay, so you can't, and so I have three things you have to, do, and then the adjustments. Okay, so you got to prospect, all right? Two, you have to be committed to the trainings and selling out to the meetings and showing up. Okay, now that's different for everybody, okay? But if you are going to give a half-blooded effort where the meetings are just convenient for you, you're not going to grow, okay? Now, some people, if you have work, if you can't rearrange your schedule, but if you're sleeping in, if you going out, like I rearranged every single thing in my life around the meetings, everything. Still did everything. I still went to weddings. I still went to barbecues. I went to parties, birthday parties. I just come late if they were on Saturdays. I have a family, right? I'm very involved in with my nieces, all that stuff. When I was building my business, I still made everything. I made the games. I just show up late. But I was committed, right? And then the third one, which kind of overlaps all this, where I was kind of alluding to earlier, is you cannot have a shortcut mentality. Okay, so and I'm not proud about this, especially as I got later on in my career academically. I was a cheater, right? I used to cheat. I did not want to do all the work. I wanted a shortcut. I would ask for notes and give me the cliff notes and let me look off your paper and do the homework for me and all those things. And I brought those terrible habits into this company, and then it doesn't work. Okay. I'm not saying you have to make the work harder on yourself, but you cannot take any shortcuts, right? Bruce said that to me a long time ago. He goes, the quickest way to build this thing is do it right the first time. Okay, that doesn't mean you don't look for a better way, but some of you, like me, blatantly try to cheat. It doesn't work. You can't ask people to do things you haven't done or not or unwilling to do. If you got to put the, you can try to, I'm not going to prepare. I'm going to wing it. You're dead. You're dead. You are dead. You might get 1 or 2 clients, right? Warren Powers, a lie will get you by, but the truth will set you free, right? I mean, you might work 1 client, but it's not going to work the whole time. And I came in with a terrible mentality of always trying to shortcut. Always. Just let me do the least amount. Let me leave the earliest. Let me show up a little bit later and not, Whittle talks about that, right? Like there's the thief that wants to steal the work. They don't want to do the work. They'll take it from you, right? They steal your money because they don't want to work for the money. They'll take it. Then there's a gambler, right? That was kind of me. I was between the thief and the gambler. Gambler is, I'll put in a quarter and I want $1 million. I'm not going to give $1 million effort. I'll put in $1 hoping to hit the strike bid. And then the champion does whatever it takes. And that was the mentality that after I had to bleed my IRA and be completely humiliated by my father, right? In front of my mom and my dad, in front of my family, that's what it took for me to be like, let me freaking get to work. Because I was not working, right? And that goes for everybody. And this is obviously it's in Primerica, but it's in life too, right? I mean, you can take shortcuts early on in life, but later on you will be exposed. And whatever you're trying to do at the highest level, it doesn't matter. Okay? Whether it be sports, academic, whatever you're doing at the highest level, if you take shortcuts, you're done. Okay? So I'm not saying anything new. So all 3 of those things are a prerequisite. It's an ante to see the hand. Okay? You cannot play the game of cards unless you play the ante. The ante is you got a prospect. Okay, now you can go business to business. We haven't talked about that. You can prospect for clients. You can prospect for, but if you're not out there aggressively 12 hours talking to people, not thinking about it, not reading it, watching YouTube videos does not count. Reading is not counting. You got to go and face rejection, pay the price 12 hours a week. That if you can do that religiously, 3 to 5 years, you're going to have a business. Okay, not 6 months, not 90 days. You can, if you find the right people on your bus and you do everything, then maybe quicker, but 3 to 5 years. 12 hours a week, getting better. Okay, but these are some of the adjustments I made. Okay, that once I came in, right, and I think that it's always good to review some of these things because you want to grade yourself where you are, and you want to talk to new people, right? Number one, and all of them are in, there's no order, but the last one is the most important one. Okay. So number one, self-improvement, right? You got to self-improve, right? You got to self-improve. You got to devour books. I know everybody's always recommending a book, and you got to read them. You got to have a book in your hand at all times. You have to read. I don't like reading. You better learn to like reading. I mean, you can, I don't want to use the word shortcut because I don't want to, say that word. I mean, at the minimum, get a book on tape. Okay. Then we go to audios. Okay. Audios are second. But, I mean, nothing, Samir, was funnier than the other training you did of talking about music, because that is the funniest thing in the world, right? What were you saying about that? It's part of my life. It's shaped my future, right? And I was like that too. Okay, before, how many concerts did we? I mean, we saw everybody, right? We go everybody, everything. Eminem, Jay-Z, Nas, and I liked all the music. Radiohead. I mean, I went. Every single person I saw in concert. I love concerts. My sister was a music aficionado, man, and she put me on to music, probably like your sister, right? I mean, just like, so we love music. You don't look, no, I know, but it's true. It wasn't helping me build this business. And I'm not talking about the technical skills. I'm talking about my thinking, literally changing every single thing on how I view stuff, how I think about stuff, how I, integrity, character, honesty, adversity, people skills, all of it. I was a novice, man. Doing a job is nothing. Work processing is nothing. You go to school, you put a resume together, and you get on the assembly line of work, and if you can follow orders properly, they'll pay you 50, 60, 100,000, 120,000. Awesome. But creating work, prospecting, making a sale, getting somebody to training, walking them off the ledge, having a great attitude, paying rent, all those things that you have to do, getting your license, studying, multitasking, it's a whole different universe, man. You are not ready for it. And when I say you, I say me too. This was hundreds of books, hundreds, thousands of meetings and audios, 2 hours of audios a day, man, because I was always in my car. Always Jim Rohn, Hector Lamarck, Bill Whittle. Some of you guys, I see it all the time, right? You're in the parking lot and, I hear your music. I'm like, what example are you setting? Like, you don't want to get better. You're that's a shortcut. Like self-improvement, it's not just a thing. It's not something that we say. Before they probably thought, well, you're making money when you sell the audios. Like, heck, no. Now you can download it for free and you're still not doing it. You think you're going to win in this business? Helps you with your vocabulary and communication and being articulate, everything. I mean, you have to be so hungry to learn in terms of the self-improvement. It's crazy, right? And if you're part-time, I mean, you should be reading 1 book a month. If you're full-time, at least 2 books a month. If you're an aggressive reader, which you should try to get to 1 book a week. I mean, some of you guys, you tell you don't read. You don't read. You're not getting sharper. You're not developing. You're not getting, when I say sharper, I'm not talking about stiff professional, but you can tell your mind is dull. You have to read, right? So self-improvement was a big adjustment. Someone put a tape in my hand. Hector Lamarck, How to Be a Rainmaker, changed my life forever. I'll never forget that. Lady named Maria Murray. I don't know if you remember. She's a Russian lady. She handed me an audio. She goes, hey, listen to this. And I was like, what is this? And it was Hector Lamarck, How to Be a Rainmaker, purple tape. Put it in, and that changed my entire life. I owe so much to that audio. And I got hooked, man. And I would order from HectorLamarck.com, and I'd get those audios, and I'd call my mom every day, Dad, hey, did it come? Because you order, it comes 3 weeks later, right? Right? It was like Amazon Prime is the worst thing in the world, right? Because I was looking for a bass shop on Amazon Prime. Can it come in 2 days? It'll be here in 2 days. I ordered one. Where does it come? I need 5 direct. Will it come? Right? Nah, tomorrow. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Free show. I'll pay, but it doesn't come. You gotta work, right? It just spoils you. But and I call my mom and, oh man, don't open it. Is it there? Yeah. If I went home and my audios were open, I was a hurricane, man. That's how much I loved getting those freaking audio tapes, man. Okay, so that was one of the adjustments. 2, licensing. Okay. Total sellout to getting people licensed, helping people get licensed. You need a great licensing system. That starts with, taking the test more than once for you, right? If you have to go and learn and getting other manuals and materials, asking your team when they go take the exam to help you. Hey, Lola, what did you notice on the exam? Give me a question. We used to have a question bank of, where we'd say, hey, Matt, we know, don't worry about it. If you fail, we don't care if you fail. All I care about is you come in the car, call me and tell me everything and just remember one question. Right? My older sister taught me that. She would do the licensing class and she goes, just come out. If you can remember one question, that's going to help everybody. And we just, everybody wanted to contribute to help everybody else. With the licensing process. And we gathered this huge bank. I remember your guy, was named Mark Mascany, right? He had taken it. How many times did he have to take it? Yeah, I mean, and he didn't even want to pass. He just wanted to help other people. You remember that? He came out with this whole manual, he wanted to sell it. He's like, hey man, this was really hard for me. And he had all these questions, everything he said. And I remember he talked about that. I'll never forget that. And we created this whole just like cheat sheet for taking the test. And we had all these things. And this is how we had 10 people pass. You know, granted, I'm a regional leader. I was not an RVP. I was a regional leader having 10 people a month pass their life exam. 10 people a month. And then we did the same thing, maybe not as intense on securities, but we created a culture where I know this is like, when I say this, like, people think I'm exaggerating. It's almost hard to believe, okay? When I went RVP, I had 40 securities licenses. Did you hear what I just said?
Wow. Wow.
Think about that. Chandel, did you hear that? Did you hear that? 40.
Wow.
40. I almost don't believe it. I'm serious, but these guys were there, so they remember. I mean, many times, I remember one time we had 4 people pass in 1 week.
Wow.
Securities, not life. Right? So, you know, when I say, this is not a phrase that I just say, okay? You guys don't listen, you don't learn, you don't master. I mean, we got other books, we had audios, I mean, licensing, we were obsessed with getting people licensed. Obsessed, absolutely crazy. We'd schedule the exam. We only cared if you got licensed, right? IBA is awesome, great, but you know, what does it mean? Did you get licensed or not? Right? That was our mentality, and you have to create that within your own team. You have to, you know, I tell people all the time, right? Like, we had this kind of saying that we had an edge over everybody else, right? We know the other team's plays. We had the winning edge. That's what we felt. We had the winning edge, right? That's what we always said. Like, no. We have the winning edge. You can go in any other office, but we have the winning edge. Now, you have to create that for your own team now, right? You have to do these things with all the people that you're hiring, all the people that are taking the exam. If they fail, they fail. Ask them to help you, right? That's how you create a licensing culture. 3, getting people back for orientation. And this is 3A and 3B. And one-on-one work sessions. Most obvious one is kitchen table appointments. Okay, but in order to build people, you have to spend time with them. And it's not just the amount of time, it's the number of times. Okay? So I don't want to spend, if I sit down with Josh and I have a work session, I don't want to spend, I'd rather have, instead of 6 hours with him, I'd rather have 6 meetings, 1 hour. Because it's different, right? Yes, it's quality of time, but it's also the number of frequency, right? You're building a good habit with people. You cannot expect to develop people by just putting them in training. That's not how this business works. And I thought that that's how it worked. Okay, you just put people in training, just invite, and they'll pick it up. They don't pick it up. You lose a lot during training. In between the meetings, what I mean. So you got to meet with people. If you're part-time, if you want to make this thing work, right, you have to schedule time outside the meetings, not even at your home, to come into the office and do some work. I would 1 hour a week. If you're far from the office and you meet with somebody, but not in your home, maybe you go to the library, maybe you go to a coffee shop, and you try to build your business. You know, because you know, people take what I say so literal. Well, I'm too far. Well, fine. Are you meeting with people? You can have small groups, 3 to 5 people, where you meet, you talk, you discuss the business, you work, you make calls together, you get in a group and do stuff. Small groups are how you built this business, especially one-on-one with people, right? It's not just meetings. Meetings are not, they're not the answer to everything. Okay, showing up is important. It's a prerequisite, but you have to meet with people outside of that. Okay, number 4, diversification, different products. look, you got to learn how to sell more than one product. You got to learn, I don't care what it is, man. Learn loans, learn Vivint, right? Yeah, Vivint was good for a minute. Now people aren't doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have clients. They still need it. $250 a pop. I don't know. What are they giving out right now? Are they giving out anything?
Last week was good.
Okay. So they're giving out AirPods, which are amazing, right? Sometimes they give the client gift cards, tablets, right? You know, $250. You know, like if you work at a retail store, right? Samir, like say, for example, like high end, how much do they make? A couple percent, 5%, 6%? Huh? 10%. Okay. So if you sell $3,000 worth of stuff, you make $300. Okay. Now there are some people that buy that. Okay. So I'm not saying that there aren't, but you go out, you have an existing client, and you just have to get them on a call, and then you make $250. Plus, you might get AirPods. Plus, I mean, it's insane how much obviously insurance. They pay $100, you get $600, right? I mean, it's funny to think what we're doing in terms of money when your client base is gold, right? You got to learn different products. Obviously, investments is the biggest one, right? And we have people getting $500,000 a day trades, $300,000 trades, right? I mean, this month, I don't know, we're like 650,000. My base shop's at 650,000 in investments. I don't even know how. Right, I know, Jenny, you got one. My brother has one. Somebody in North Carolina has one, and then there's a bunch of little ones. Almost like it's like, man, maybe we can do like $1 million in a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know
Yes.
where it's coming from, because you got to learn multiple products. That also involves you getting your second license, the investment license, right? Because a lot of times people put their business on hold to study for another exam. Stop! You're just procrastinating. It doesn't take that long to get the exam, right? Josh, you got your life license a month ago? Yeah, and then he's already SIE, and all we're doing is waiting on the U4, but he's ready to take, right? It doesn't take you 2-3 years, man. So you got to sell out to product diversification. This kind of piggybacks off this, but it's a new one. Pending business, right? That was another thing that really changed my business, right? You got to get good at QBI. You got to understand issuing policies. When do we get paid? Right? You write an app. When do you get paid? You get paid tomorrow. When do you get paid?
After the client's had it for a year.
You get paid when the client starts making premium payments. Okay? You get loaned money immediately. Right? But every time the client makes a payment, then you get paid. Because if they stop making payments, the company takes the money back. So, look, and it is what it is, right? If people go out, they're on Telegram, they got a $300 app, they got a $150 app, awesome. You closed an application. You get paid when the client pays their policy every month. And then once they've paid 12 months, once they've paid 9 months, you've earned all your money. Once they've paid 12 months, you've received full compensation. Because they advance you on 9 months, right? So if they don't pay 9, they're going to take some money back. They pay 12, you've received the full comp. That's how you got to start thinking. Yes, I mean, I can't look at everything, right? So we're going to high five you when we do Top Gun, but you got to remember, I have to get these policies issued. Why? It's the right thing to do for the client, number one. Because if they don't, right? We just had a claim, right? Matt and I were talking. He has a claim. It's not a claim because the client's policy lapsed. And we were checking, right? The survivors of the person that passed away was born in 1994 with 3 kids. And we were checking it because we got notification that the person had a policy. But it's lapsed for how many years?
Over a year.
Right? I mean, you wrote them up a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
4 years ago? What was it? Okay. and then it's been lapsed, I think, for 3 years, right? It's like, no, he did the job, they paid, but like at the end of the day, okay, we got the premium, we got the money, we did this, we got the advance, but they don't pay the premium, they don't get coverage.
Does the company tell us if somebody lapses?
You have to check life conservation, and they tell the client, right? They tell the client that they're gonna. This company wants to, they get those premiums, right? I mean, the company wants to, obviously even from a financial standpoint, but so whatever I'm saying, if the client doesn't have coverage and they got kids and they die and look, 1 out of 30 people die before 65. That is the numbers. One out of 30 die before 65. Those are the numbers. Okay, 1 out of 30. So if you have a husband and wife, you do the numbers, right? And that's not including how many get ill and uninsurable. And we know 100% of people will die. I'm not saying before 65, but we're not making it out alive. Okay, I'm not being insensitive. This is the business that we're in. So when you don't protect those kids, and it sucks, right? I mean, I'm not, it just, you feel bad. You're like, gosh, man. You read about it, you're like, man, they didn't pay this premium for $60, and they got 3 kids, and what's 1994? I didn't even know, like, how old is that? 25 years old, man. 25 years old. And you know what? Our claims, man, they're coming younger and younger. Obviously, we're getting older. I'm getting older, but it's 1994. Yeah. And you think like you're trying to win a trip, this and that? No, man. People who don't have life insurance and they have young kids and they have debt, it's irresponsible. I'm not saying you say that to the client, but you have that mentality. It is not. They're going to have there's a GoFundMe right now. I don't know if I told you this, Amir, but I don't know did anybody hear about this accident in Ashburn that happened like a week ago? Did you hear about this? Would you hear about it?
I just read about it yesterday. Like a head parked.
Yeah. So it was right by my house, right? It's 7 a.m. Mom with a baby in the car, 4-year-old, got hit on. I think it was 18-year-old kid, right? Like a kid crossed the median, hit her head on, she died. Impact. Oh, wow. And the daughter is 4, and she's in my nephew's daycare.
What?
And my nephew came home and told my mom, so his grandma, right? Like, one of the girls in my school, she says, I lost my mom. And this happened like 10 days ago, and she's back in the day. I'm like, she's already back? Right? I mean, she's already has to go back.
Wow.
Where was this?
In Ashburn, off Belmont Ridge and Ryan Road. Right? You heard about this?
No, I ain't about outside of town, but yeah.
And this happened like literally less than 2 weeks ago. And you just think about it, it's like, all the stuff that we say, all this, the high fives, the group meetings, this and that, the closes you learn, like, like this isn't like I'm trying to get you to buy a water filter. I'm not trying to make fun of it. I'm just saying, or like, like you don't know when this stuff's gonna happen. And people, I say this stuff all the time. You guys drive every day. You see, go on 495, go on 66, go on 95. There's accidents, man. People are going high speed, dude. This is 7 a.m. You're driving your kid to school and your little thing, and someone hits you, and that's it. Right? So when we're out there setting appointments and we're doing what we're doing, like, and I tell people, if you've been here long enough, you write business, your clients are going to pass away. This client that we had, that Matt, when I say he had, that was an overdose, man. That was an overdose. Just people that are, that have a normal job and they have kids, and they have everything to live, overdose, man. Heroin overdose. You do it one time, gone. And this isn't the first time this has happened to our office, our organization. This has happened before. right? So like, you know, when we say we're saving lives, we're changing lives, we're helping lives, like this is not, it's not a ploy. You're part of a company. This isn't like, I was doing my stupid freaking job. What was I doing all day? Nothing. Taking orders, freaking watching a clock, never, ever, ever doing anything meaningful. Stupid ass government contracting work. So, you got to get your policies issued. You got to do the right job for the client. The right job and the total job for the client is getting those policies issued. Saving policies is our badge of honor. Anybody can write the application, get them excited, but when they don't want it, you go freaking save them. You go say, no, look, man. And I used to say this. Mark trained me really well on this. Hey, no, I know, I'm sorry, I'm being a little like this, but I'm tough on the parents. I always say that. And I said that before I had kids. I said that before I delivered my first claim. But some of you guys delivered a claim, you can say it. Some of you guys had clients passed away, they didn't keep their coverage. I don't want that to be you. This is not being dramatic. Number one, it is dramatic. You got it, man. This part of this is passion, right? You have to have that. Okay, incentives. That next one is incentives. Look, you know, hey, Samir, we appreciate you, man. That was awesome.
Yes.
Sunday, you know, some of these incentives, you don't think they're going to be, that was so much fun. I loved destroying all of you guys in board games, right? It's just fun. I needed that ego boost to let me know that I'm smarter than you guys, right? Donald. Hey, you see Donald play a board. He did. That was fun. Sade, you came through for us at the end. I mean, you started slow. We almost cut you from our team. But damn, thank God we did it. Off the bench. Right? I was like, Sade, come on, man. I'm going to take a sub for, like, I was bringing my daughter in. She's 6. I was like, Sade, come on, man. This is a production business, and you got to produce, man. Okay? I take my board game serious, man. The rooftop, the environment, it was awesome. It was cool to hang with everybody. I had such a great time, man. I promise you, you know, like such a great time. Such a great time. And, you know, think like I was seeing your house. It's like, he lives there. Like, that's where you live. Like, this is what, like, he'll text me all the time. He's like, oh, look what I grilled today. And it's like 3 times a week he's texting me that. And, you know, like, I text people, and, like, they're like, oh, hey, are you at a stream? No, that's my waterfall in my pool. This is like, I just turn it on sometimes. I want to hear it. Like, this business has provided me, like, I live where people vacation. That's where I live. And it was cool to hang, right? Because we all, you know, it's just so much fun. Like, you know, some of these incentives, it's 1,000, it's one app, and you think, oh, no, I'm too. No, that's why you don't win. That's why you don't win in the business. You don't understand. Every incentive I killed myself for. I don't care if Mark gave. We used to have these breakfast clubs where we have a morning meeting Saturday before training, and if you did something that week, you got hot breakfast, eggs and the snack. You didn't, you got cereal. That's it.
No, but the training started at 9 and the board was coming
at 7. Yeah.
You had to come extra.
You had to come extra, but no, we were there. No, because you know what? If you had to qualify to get there, you always got there. That's just what it was, man. Now look, I always like being distinguished, right? We had captain bands. I love that. It meant something to me. Oh, no, because your teammates and your coaches elected you captain. Mm-hmm. That band represented something. It's not just, I know you can order them on Amazon. No. My teammates voted for me. They said that they wanted me to go out there for the coin flip. They wanted us to talk to the referee. They wanted us to strategize and be a quarterback on the field. No, man. It was more than a stupid band, right? Like, yeah, you don't come for this. That's fine. That's cool, man. Go watch it. You don't get a taste of that life. I had fun. It sold me the dream. Right? Like these incentives. Oh, no. Okay. Right when you go, you jump the shark and the incentives aren't important for you, you're dead. You're dead. I did this stuff for T-shirts and pins and dollar bills, and people clapping for me and trophies and, you know, whatever it is. That's what I did the business for. You got to kill yourself for every incentive, and your team's got to see you killing yourself. Right? It's just like, oh, no, no, no. If the winners are getting there, I'm there. Mentors. You know, how many people have you sought out in the last year that make you uncomfortable? Not me, but other people, even in the business. Maybe there's some in the office environment, but when we go to other places, right? We go to our regional events, you can talk to them, and you can befriend somebody that's doing better than you, and they're going to pull you up. You know, I always make friends with people, and you know, some of these people, they're $800,000-$900,000 earners, they're $1 million earners, they're $1.5 million earners, right? I always am putting myself in position to meet people when they're coming up. I talk to them. Hey, can I call you? Can I pick your brain? This and that. I text them. You know, this and that. You know, even now, right? Like my next door neighbor, right? He sold his company, whatever, $30 million. The second offering of $30 million. So him and his business partner, they both live in my neighborhood, right? And his other business partner, his wife went to my high school. She's a year older than me. I knew her really well in high school. So I'm always trying to talk to them just because I want to be uncomfortable, man. You can learn something from anybody, right? I'm not like who do you hang with? Look at your call log. I mean it. Just look at it. Look who you called. Right? In my call log, I have Christian, I have Bruce. Like literally, I've talked to him this week. Right? Look at your call log. Who have you called? What are they getting out of you? You know, they say every self-improvement book you read, tell me your 5 best friends, average their income, that's where you'll be. That's 100% true. That's a law. You're not going to break that mold. You got to get around people, man, that know more than you, that are doing more than you, that think better than you, make more than you, have more business experience than you. Got to put yourself in that situation. Okay, KTs, next one, KTs. You got to be on KTs every week, man. Okay. That changed my business, learning that this was a kitchen table business, being nuts about going on KTs every single week, finding ways to get KTs with the referral, even if you don't have new recruits. Now, obviously, that's the best example, right, to do it. But even if you don't have new recruits, you got to get on KTs. A lot of you guys, you're not doing 10 grand of premium because you are dependent on recruits to get on KTs. Logically, that does make sense. But there are many people on here, especially everybody that does over 10 grand consistently, they get their own premium. From referrals, from prospecting, from old clients, from old recruits, you know, from emergency contacts, from, you know, networking, whatever it is that they do, they can get premium. In the West Coast, they always recruit the sale. I'm just telling you. That's their thing. They sell you, then they recruit you. Because if you don't break the code, Rod, right? Like, look at your numbers, man. Look at your numbers. Look at them. How many times in the last 12 months you done 10K? Just look at it. You know, Samir did a great training the other day, right? I never heard that. I don't know. You know, it was profound when he said, no, you're doing your best. Right? Remember that one? Yeah. You're doing your best. No. You think you're doing best because one time a long time. No, you're doing your best. You are doing your best. You know, Shay said something a long time, and I was just saying it because I was just looking at the numbers, right? And I was like, hey, no, this is your average. She's like, what? Right? Remember that? And she's like, that hit me. I was like, no, this is your average. I didn't say it even mean like that, right? she interpreted it because that's how I would have interpreted it too. Like, no, you weren't coming at me, but that's how I took it because it hit me. Like, no, this is your average, right? To say that you're better than your average, same with me, right? It's like, no, this is your income. Now, can I play better? Sure, but I'm not playing better, which means what? That's what I am. You are what you are, man. And if you and the worst part about it is because you've done better, you think you're better, and then you don't have to work. That's the problem. Because if you think you're doing your best and your best is this, you'll get better. That was his whole message, right? Look at it. Just look at everybody. Look at your last, and if you know, hey, this is my best, let me do better. And the number one adjustment, the biggest life-changing adjustment I ever made in Primerica. You ready? Ready? Big event attendance. Selling out to big events. Number one, that had the biggest impact in my business of building, of growing a hierarchy, of creating passive income, was selling out to the big event. Number one, Bob Turley said, big events aren't part of our business, they are our business. So I constantly talk about this with people, and I didn't have, so what I mastered was the one-on-one with people, okay? So everybody's going to be different, right? Oh, I have kids, I have a spouse, I have this, I have car challenges, and you cannot take no for an answer. So there's not one thing. Obviously, you can use the earn before you learn, right? Would you say that in most opportunities, you learn then earn, or earn before you learn? You learn, then you earn, right? So here to learn, you got to come. And I learned that from Coker, and obviously I'm not saying it is nearly as good as him. Jenny goes over scripts all the time, movies, if you had $1,000, like for me, I kept it very simple. I got my room, I got my ticket, I make sure my directs got their ticket, and then I would have individual conversations with people. Hey, how many do you have going? What's going on? And I'd have a conversation and see why people are flaking out. And I talk about the speaker and the environment and winning. Because look, here's the truth, okay? And you guys all know this. Okay, who went to the convention? Okay, good. So most people have been there. All right. So I can say this, and if you haven't, you'll have the opportunity later. Training is cool, man. Training is good. I love training. I show up to every training. Okay, and you make an adjustment, and you'll learn something, and something that didn't hit, you'll see somebody said something, and it's the day to day. Okay, but it's true. The deep decisions come at the big events. The ones that rock you, the ones that are important, the ones that are life-changing come at the big events. When you go to the big events, that's where you make the real decision, man. That's where you get inspired. That's where you get re-energized. That's where you get the belief again. Those don't happen at these trainings. And so if your team is not coming to the big event, they can't make these decisions, and they're never going to make it, and you can't build a core group. And the only way you get big, I was talking to Samir, right, this morning. And, with the exception of Dante, those first few events, you guys weren't there, right? Because we were there, we would go to Pennsylvania, and these were the worst meetings in the world, man, to go to. Like, when we say we went in a barn, it was a barn and it smelled like a barn. Right? I mean, we're going, this is not a hotel. It's not, and our biggest thing is we have 300, 400, 500,000. We never had like million, like the person there was running $1 million, but we never had a millionaire come. There weren't that many when we started, there was like 40 of them. I'm just telling you. And they were all like about to die. There's just no way to say it. Like, like, it was a good old boys club. There was no, like, you just didn't, like, there was no young people doing it. There's no women. There was one women, you don't have Gurpreet Singh. Like, it's crazy what we have now. Like, it's like, damn, I had Gurpreet. Like, it's just nuts, the company and the opportunity. So we're going to these meetings. It's 3 hours. It's 2 nights. And we have an event. It's 24 hours. You have all these breaks. No, you're just sitting there the whole time. Right? You have you pee in a bottle. You got a little bucket under your seat. Just use the bathroom.
Oh my God.
It doesn't matter. You're not going to smell it. We're in a barn anyway. So whatever you're doing is not going to smell as bad as the cows that we see. I mean, you're just sitting there hungry all day. And even if it doesn't matter, right? If they give you a break for lunch, we couldn't afford food. So we couldn't eat. We're sitting there. We're packing. And once that ran out, right, we're bad. One of the nights you're always sleeping in your car because you're trying to, it just sucked. It was the worst thing in the world. But you know what? That built us, man, right? That like, we made all the decisions driving back, man, we're going to do this. And I'm thinking, like, how freaking stupid were we? How naive were we to think that we're going to take over, man? We're going to, man, our area is untapped, this and that. All the stuff that you guys say. But man, we're going to freaking do it. We're going to have our own event one day. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. This and it. I'm just think about it. Like, it's just crazy. I remember John Lavin's there, 400,000. He's at 1.2 million now. It's nuts. You can't recreate that. I wish I could make it easier for you, but like I said, let me know when a base shop is on Amazon. I will order one. They ain't coming. They're not. You're going to have to build it, and you're going to have to go show up to these stupid-ass meetings all the time. And if they didn't work, I wouldn't do it. But they work. And they've worked for you. And they've worked for your teammates. And you know what I'm talking about, because you know when you go away and you have a room and you invest a little money and you whatever it is, you leave a little of your problems away for 24 hours, you leave your kids away, whatever it is, and you freaking immerse yourself, and you have somebody telling you that they were an airport baggage handler, whatever Sam Shepard's background is, whatever he did, and now he's making $2 million a year. You have a little more confidence to go out and freaking attack this business, and that's all you need. You just need a little more. And over time, you're just getting better and better and better and making a stronger, deeper decision and commitment. And then it'll be you going across the stage. It'll be you getting an MVP. It'll be you earning a promotion. It'll be you getting a watch, you getting a ring, you making 10 grand in a month, you watching your team get licensed and you passing it, whatever it is. See, like, that is our business. And just like a lot of these adjustments that you're making, this is the big one, man. This is the Super Bowl. And having these conversations weekly and asking, did you buy your ticket? And did you tell your wife to take off work or your husband to take off work? Are you bringing them? That's how we know you're serious or not. You can say whatever you want. I'm telling you how this business works. This is not just X's and O's and doing F and A's. That's not how it works, man. I wish it did. It doesn't. This is how it works. You taking buses and cars and sleeping 4 to a room or whatever it is and investing your time, effort, energy, and money and putting in it, and then you feel deserving of winning. And the funny thing is, every single one of you, I had the same stuff, right? I didn't want to go to them. I had my partner, you guys know, she didn't want to go. She was very negative. She'll tell you that. So no, she's not negative. She just wants to do, no, that's negative. That's negative. You can say whatever you want. That's negative. Okay. Now, is it like she's trying to make you quit? Okay, fine. But no. You need to get your partner there. You need to get your spouse there. Because this meeting is going to change your life. It's going to do something to you, and every time it's going to continue to improve your thinking. And you need someone there. You need to hire a babysitter for 24 hours. You need to get this person to show up. And you got to have these tough conversations, and you need to be a leader, and you need to make the big ask. So I wanted to go through those. Obviously, we have our event coming up. We have a conference call this Sunday night with Bruce Kalk at 9 o'clock to talk about the event. Shondell, can you pull up the standings? We got a week left, right? Can you pull it up on the Big East Conference? Is that where they are? Where are they, Josh? Okay, from when? Okay, give it to me. Let's see where they are. You can probably add up the numbers or do some sort of research, right, on POL. There's a leaders bulletin, right? All right, Tom's gonna pull it up and then.
Yeah, whatever we have. You want me to pull up your offer?
No. It's not on the Big East Conference? Oh. I have the numbers. Let's see. Or I'll look for it and do it at the end. But hey man, I'm excited what you guys got going on. 25 grand, gonna do over 40 grand this month. Have a breakout year coming into our fall months. Nail that 40, man. Let's give it up for Samir.
I feel kind of guilty when he says that because I literally haven't done anything for that. But I guess that's the good part about the business. I'm at a couple grand, and Sheila's done a good job. She's at, I think, 55. What are you at, Josh? 55. 12.5. Shondell with 10 days left. So really appreciate the team. You guys are doing a great job. It's awesome. Hey, Josh, who are you in competition with this month? And what's the thing?
What's the thing? Fight Club's the thing. I'm in competition with Peter.
What is it? I mean, what happens if you win? What's the punishment?
Well, we didn't have a punishment. It's just the Fight Club. That's why it's there.
Okay, gotcha. And
Peter.
Okay, all right. And Peter Tia, where you guys at?
4 by 2,000.
Okay, and Donald and Jim, where you guys at?
4 by 7,600.
4 by 11.3.
Huh?
4 by 11.3.
No, I said Donald and Jim. Sorry, that's why I didn't hear your number. Where
Oh,
are
you
you guys
said
at?
Jen.
Yes.
I think
4
so,
by
Jen.
7,600.
Oh, so you're at 76. Josh, what are you at?
10 by 55.
Let's see. And Jen, where are you at?
4 by 11.3.
Shondell, where are you at?
14 by 12.5.
Cool. Good job. As the year comes to an end, you got to be thinking about, which is crazy to say that, right? You got only 4 months left. You got to be thinking about how you can, what would need to happen from now until, this is what I did the other day. I reset all my goals. So I had my annual goals and I said, all right, from now until the end of the year, what do I want to do? And you got to ask yourself, if it was December 31st right now, what would have had to happen in this year for you to say that this was a growth year for you, right? In all areas of your life. And, we set the annual goals, but sometimes we don't look at them for the whole year. That's what most people do. They have resolutions, stuff, they forget about it. We can't be that way. We have to be goal-driven, super high awareness about what we want, what direction we're going. So if you got 4 months left, it's like, man, what could I do in the next, how much Josh Riddle would I want to make in these next 4 months? How many people would I want on my team? How many KTs? How good do I want to get at how much do I want to close? How many people do I want in meetings? All these things, write them down, right? And then just go at it for the next 4 months. and make it a good finish to the year. Make this year worth it. So as I see the momentum that some people have, right? The regionals are at a good place for where we're at in the month, and then some of the divisions are doing a great job. A lot of competition, contests coming to a close. You can do something big. This is how I built my business. I would have a huge March, which would kind of get my year going, because January and February for me were kind of slow, which is not an excuse, but it was just bad leadership on my part. But I would get it going in March, and then I would maintain. And then when it hit September, we would call this the fall months, and we would ramp up September, October, and then have a humongous November. Look at your numbers for the year. Your biggest month should be in November. But just like Shaq says, you want to beat your last month and all that stuff, progressively grow until then, but have that intention that you want to have a huge November. It's just more fun, right? You can rally around, it's 90 days away, and you just build everything up towards that. You end the contest in a bang. That carries over into some momentum into December, so you have a good December, you end the year strong. These are the kind of things that I used to think about, right? I would think ahead versus where I am right now and just about today and just about the present time and just about this month. So just a little bit of that. So this book I'm reading right now, very easy read. You can get through it. I just started. I'm only a few chapters in, but large print, short chapters. So people that don't like to read that much, this is an easy one. But it's called Emotional Intelligence 2.0. So this is like a classic, and then they came out with a revised edition of it. And one thing I've noticed about getting older, a lot of things about getting older is kind of makes you a little nervous, right? Like, you're getting old, and then you're hanging around all these young people. But one thing that's great about getting older is you're more emotionally intelligent, if you're smart, right? If you're not getting more intelligent in certain ways as you get older, that's a shame, right? As you work on yourself and you read and you get better as a person, the best thing about getting older is emotional intelligence, right? Like Shaq and I were very angry people, right? Like I met with someone, remember when I met with Ahmad the other day? So one of the things that he said, he was with us in literally 05, right? I think he was under Dante. So I met with him the other day. He's working on some big project. He wanted to show it to me. And what do you think about that, man? That's a 14-year-old recruit, right? And he's a grown man now. And he was a kid at 18 when he came in. So he referenced something. He's like, yeah, because, like your anger issues. I'm like, it's not like that anymore. Because I literally tried to fight him many times in the office. Causing scenes many times. Right? Many times. Like this kid would just push my buttons. And it wasn't like just Josh where I would just say things that we were literally trying to fight. One time I think we actually wrestled or something. But so if you meet Shaq and I, like one of our other friends who we've known since we were in grade school, he watches our videos, right? His name is Omar as well. So he watches these videos when they're live, and he goes, "You guys just don't sound the same, man. I remember before it used to just be, I don't know, there's something different about you. You're just so calm now. Is it because you have money or whatever? I don't know." But I think what a lot of it comes down to is just emotional intelligence. You just figure out how to deal with your emotions, how to anticipate certain things, knowing what's going to push your buttons, how to respond. And it's so important because your overall health, right? And your mood and your temperament, all of this is driven by your emotions and learning how to handle your emotions. The annoying thing about being around people that don't have emotional intelligence is that their responses and their reactions to things are just disproportionate to what's actually going on. Does that make sense? Right? So I learned this a long time ago. They say that you want to respond, you don't want to react. If you think about an allergic reaction, is that a good thing? No, it's not a good thing. Reacting is bad. You want to respond. You want to have a calculated response. People with low emotional intelligence, when bad things happen, they're really down. When good things happen, they're too high, right? This is low emotional intelligence, overreacting to certain things. that's a lack of emotional intelligence. And I still have work to do on this, and that's why I'm even reading this book. But I just want to read a few things that I highlighted in here to show you how important this really is, okay? And then we'll get into a short policy. So I thought this was good. He said this right in the beginning. After all, as a society, we continue to focus most of our self-improvement energy in the pursuit of knowledge, experience, intelligence, and education. So that's what school wants us to do, right? They say, read more, get more degrees, pass more exams, get better scores, because we want to increase our knowledge, experience, intelligence, and education. He says this would be fine if we could honestly say we had a full understanding of our emotions, not to mention the emotions of others, and an understanding of how emotions influence our lives so fundamentally. But he's saying that that's not the case. There's a huge gap between people's intelligence as far as what they know, and then their emotional intelligence, which is, knowledge of their emotions. So let's go through this real quick. So he's saying that emotions, right, when things happen, they travel near the spinal cord, but must travel to your frontal lobe, the front of your forehead, before reaching the place where rational, logical thinking takes place. The trouble is they pass through your limbic system along the way, the place where emotions are produced. This journey ensures you experience things emotionally before your reason kicks into gear. So as certain events happen, it's going to hit you emotionally first before you can think about it logically or you can reason what's going on. So that's why sometimes we respond so quickly, because we haven't had a chance to think about what's happening. We respond to the emotions. I thought that was interesting. He said, people with the highest levels of intelligence outperform those with average IQs just 20% of the time, while people with average IQs outperform those with high IQs 70% of the time. So when it comes to intelligence, high intelligence people will outperform low intelligence people. That is obvious. But when it comes to emotional intelligence, right, people with higher emotional intelligence will outperform people with higher IQs 70% of the time. So you can actually be less intelligent, but if you have emotional intelligence, you will outperform someone who's smarter than you. So what they're saying is EQ is actually more important than IQ, right? So we're all taught, hey, what's your IQ, right? SAT scores, things like that. What he's saying is it's really about EQ, your emotional intelligence. It's really quotient, right? Intelligence quotient, emotional quotient. So smarter people, when it comes to smart or less smart, yeah, if you're just looking at those two metrics, usually if you're smarter as far as IQ, this person will outperform this person. But if you're looking at these two, this person can be smarter, but if this person is more emotionally intelligent, they'll outperform the smarter person. I thought that's important, right? Because some of us are so fixated on how smart we are, how smart someone else is. So what makes up a person is these two things, and then also their personality. And that is the totality of who a person is. Right? It's not how smart you are, it's how you respond, and then your personality as a whole. So all emotions are derived from 5 core feelings. All emotions are derived from 5 core feelings: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, and shame. Emotional intelligence is something in each of us that is a bit intangible. So intelligence is intangible, or is tangible to an extent, whereas emotional intelligence is intangible. EQ is so critical to success that it accounts for 58% of performance in all types of jobs. It is the single biggest predictor of performance in the workplace and the strongest driver of leadership and personal excellence. So when we meet people, what you'll start to figure out is if they have control over their emotions, we can train you on everything else. We can develop you. We can teach you everything you need to know. But if you have low EQ, right, it doesn't matter how much you know. When one little thing happens, you know they run away because they get scared or they just can't handle it. So I think that's a good explanation. 90% of high performers are also high in EQ. Whereas if you look at 90% of performers, they're not all high IQ. That's good. So I'll go through this stuff and I'll continue to read from it. I just think it's really good. And it kind of gives people hope, man, because we come from an environment where it's all about how much you know or how smart you are or what kind of grades you get. And this is saying that your emotional intelligence is way more flexible than your intelligence or IQ, right? Whereas that may be a little bit stagnant. How good you can get at controlling your emotions and how that can affect your performance, you know, it's much more flexible. It has the ability to grow at a higher rate. So let's get into a real quick policy. It is a big one. I've gone over it before, but it's a good one to go back to, right? I thought about this as I was thinking about this training. So I wanted to ask this question. Don't blurt it out if you already know. I know a lot of experts in here, but I'm going to ask people, just let them answer, okay? So Josh Riddle, what do you think the difference is between, see, under permanent policies or cash value, there's two types of policies, right? You have whole life, and then you have variable life or index universal life, okay? What is the difference between these two policies?
The interest is set on all more like market fluctuations. The other one's kind of just a set.
Okay. So this one is
Yeah, the very
market fluctuations. I like that answer. Okay. So the way the cash value grows, right? So how would we say that? Okay, I'll just say what he says. Kind of market related. Whereas this one is almost like fixed growth. All right, let me ask someone else. Amanda, what do you think the difference is between these two policies? What comes to mind first?
With whole life, it's either or.
Okay. So whole life is you only get one, right? Cash value or death benefit. And this one, it's the same, but sometimes there is an option B where you get both, right? You can get the cash value and the death benefit sometimes, right? But a lot of times it's still the same. So there are situations in these policies where you're only going to get one as well. Once in a while, they set an option B or sell an option B or an option 2 where you get both, right? Agina, what do you think?
Both have
Rod, you know?
Cost?
Cost? Yeah, it could be. Whole life is usually more expensive. Donald, what do you think it is?
universal life has more fees, different fees.
I like that too, actually. Right, the fees. Whole life is kind of straightforward, right? They don't even show what the fees are. It's all internal. Whereas this, there's going to be a list of fees. Trying to go to someone that it'll actually be a challenge. Therese, what do you think it is?
Australia's gonna have the same premium for life, but that's why someone would get
Which one?
the
Whole life.
whole life, sorry.
Okay. So in whole life, cash value is the same. I mean, same premium? And what would it be for the other one?
Adjustable. You
So-
know, they can even choose it.
Okay,
It's different.
it's kind of like a selling point what the insurance company tells you. That's what their brochure.
I choose what to get in their mouth.
But you're close. All right, so who has the answer? What is it?
In the universal life, your cash value can actually lose cash value in whole life once you go up. You just continue to go up. So this,
And why would it change?
because the cost of the insurance
Exactly.
increases.
Okay, this is the biggest thing, and that's why I called on people that, that are newer licensed agents or newer in the field. The biggest difference is that a variable life or IUL, anything that's not whole life, has a rising cost of insurance that will eventually eat up your cash value and it will lapse your policy. So why is this a big difference? Because if I have a policy here that's $300 a month, and then I have a policy here that's $300 a month, which one would you rather own, Matt? If you're a family?
300 and 300.
If I had a policy, a whole life policy for $300 a month, or I had a variable policy for $300 a month, I would rather own the whole life. Because I know what?
Right.
I know that as long as I pay my premium, yes, it's shitty. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, I only get one. Yes, the cash value grows at a very slow rate relative to anything else, and I'm losing a ton of money over time, and it's probably very little coverage. Let's put that out there. But at least as long as I pay the premium, eventually it is going to pay my family one day. Does that make sense? That's the thing. Whereas in one of these policies, because of the rising, Agena, cost of insurance, you know what that means, right? Within the policy, the cost of insurance goes up, then they start taking out your cash value, it goes down, and then your policy lapses. I can literally pay on this on time when they tell me, but Therese, you know what? They can still lapse my policy one day and I get nothing back. This is the biggest thing. So between the two, they're both very, very, very bad. But if I had to choose one, it would be this, because at least I get what I'm paying for and there's no risk of that happening, like me just completely losing my coverage. So I wanted to start with that. Now let's look at a whole life policy, okay? The cost, that's why the cost on a whole life policy is a lot higher, because it does have that guarantee of at least lasting for your whole life. Let's look at one of these real quick.
Are cash value agents selling that now? Like selling that benefit?
Which is what?
Get low life?
No.
They're still selling variable because the premiums are bigger.
No, they sell both. I mean, in a higher end market, they're usually buying. Well, there's different types of markets, but in a higher end market, usually it is the whole life. The premium's going to be more for them, for the agent, and there's going to be more guarantees for the client. So let's look at this. So this guy has a $220,000 policy. And let's go down. Down again, right? So he's 54 years old. Keep going, okay? So minimum face amount, that means if he reduced it, the most he could reduce it to is 25,000, not really relevant. Pays the premium monthly, all right? So annual plus the riders, he's paying 14,000 per year, which is 1,200 a month. Yeah. Okay, let's look. So one of the things that is in every whole life policy, every single one, it's not the case with the variable policy, but in a whole life policy, they'll always have a cash value table, right? So if you go, can you go back real quick? All right, go up a little. Go back one more time. Okay, never mind, just go back to the cash value. or the next one. Okay, so now we're here. So I forgot where it said it on the policy, but it said that the premium payment period was only for, I think, 10, 11 years. It was, okay, so I missed it. Can we go, can you find that? There you go, right? So 12 years. So limited payment whole life with premiums payable to age 65, which means that, and it's really interesting why they did this. So I'll tell you why. Inside of this policy is a long-term care rider, right? So the client, this is a very wealthy client, they're dentists, and they have a ton of cash. And she said, my husband has so many health issues that he couldn't get long-term care on the market. So we got a long-term care policy within a life insurance policy because, and you know, it's for $220,000 because if anything happens to him, I wanted his long-term care to be paid for. What's long-term care? Nursing home, home care, in case you have a serious illness or injury, or you're that sick where you need permanent care, okay? Now, the insurance company is saying, you only have the policy, you only have to pay on the policy until 65, right? Now let's look at what's starting to happen here. So in the first year, I put in 14,000, I have 800 of cash value. All that money's gone. After 2 years, I put in 28,000, I have 11, right? So let's just round it up to 15,000. 3 years, I put in 45, I put in 60, I put in 75, I only have 43. After 10 years of putting money in, let's say that now he's 65, I put in how much? 140 grand? 10 years, I put in 140, I only have 106. Now, the biggest problem with this is that my death benefit is 220,000. In my cash value, I have 106,000. And if I die, they only give me this. So if they kept 106 of mine, then technically they only gave me 114, right? 140. So you pay in 140, you get out 220. Okay. Now look at the writing down here. All right. And now go up here real quick. So you can see that the cash value now starts to go up very incrementally because the premium payments stop right there, right? But here's what they don't tell you. If we go up, and you know, Ricky helped me research this a while back when we figured this out. Number one, what do you get in the death benefit? I always show them, it doesn't say cash value. You get paid up additions, dividends, blah, 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 face amount, but you do not get the cash value, and it shows that. It also shows that we deduct any policy debt. So if you exercise that long-term care rider, it comes out of the policy. If you borrow any money, we're going to deduct that from the death benefit when we give it. But look at this. Look at this funny description. Death benefit after lapse. Why would they be defining that? Because I thought when a policy lapses, what happens?
You start paying it.
It's over. But a whole life company, they define lapse very differently. They define lapse as you have stopped paying your premium, okay? Which you can do on a whole life because you have cash value. So here's what they're saying. When you stop paying your premium, okay, the death benefit will be the amount of paid up life insurance. So let's go back, okay? So the agent says, we want you, go back to cash value table, we want you to pay only for 10 years. So the client stops paying after 10 years. Right? And now look what happens. After the 10th year, when you stop paying, the policy goes into a lapse status, and then it turns into a paid up policy, which means what? You have to give them the 106, and now you have a $220,000 policy forever. But you gave them 106 in order for that to happen. So think about that. You've paid in 140, and then whatever the number is, you give that to them. You no longer have cash value. Now you don't have to pay anymore, but you no longer have cash value, and you basically traded 100 grand, 140 grand for just 200,000 of benefits sometime in the future if you die. here's what else it says. The long-term care rider, when the policy goes into a lapse status or a paid up status, the long-term care rider turns off. Right? So that's why the insurance company made sure he stopped paying at the age of 65, because they don't want to cover long-term care on a client after the age of 65.
Wow.
Wow.
Sick.
Oh, it's sick.
So if they had continued doing what they were going to do, they would have lost the 106 that they put 140 into, right? They would no longer own their cash value. Their family would get 200,000 if he died one day. When he dies, they would get that. But the problem is there'd be no long-term care.
Right.
And she was like, why the hell would I do any of this? I have $1 million in my account. I didn't need the 200, and I just wanted it for the long-term care.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I want to explain something to you. And I read the whole contract, and me, Ricky, Dante, Matt, everyone got together and we read through this policy. What we figured out was that the long-term care benefit was only for $195. So people are under the impression that long-term care, for as long as the event occurs and you're, in a nursing home, they just pay for the rest of your life. I said, no, it's only until you use up $195,000. Now, long-term care on average, let's say it's $8,000 a month to have full-time care. Your 2 years, it's done. And she's like, I don't need this. I have that much in my account. I thought it was something different when it's done. But it took me a long time and help of all these guys to figure this contract out. But anyone who has anything like this, you want to make sure that, we get in front of them.
So the long-term care is kind of like a traditional long-term care rider in that, like, they'll provide X amount of dollars per month up to $195,000 like this. So it is actually something separate. It's not like, hey, use your cash value for the long-term.
There is, I'm not going to get into that today because I don't have all the other pages right now, but there is an impact on the policy and the cash value if you exercise that rider.
And what does it mean here on the right-hand side where it's the participating vehicle life insurance? So after those kind of.
So they're saying in any given year, you can trade your cash value for this much paid up life insurance.
But then in 2028, all those dashes, that means
Yeah.
that you can't do it.
Yeah, you can't do it.
There's nothing.
After this, like if you continued paying on it, or what does this mean, Matt, these next couple of years?
So the words dash, so that's a reduced paid up. So you're trading your cash value for a death benefit that's smaller. If it has a dash, it means you're trading your cash value for the entire face amount. That's why it puts a dash, because rather than it being a reduced amount, they'll give you the full death benefit.
Oh, okay. So in 2028, you give up your 120, but the family get the 220.
Yeah.
Like the original death benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever that meant.
And if you keep paying on it, then they'll grow your cash value. But your cash value is not going to keep growing if you stop paying, right?
All right, guys, so big meeting tomorrow. Let's all get here early. Oh, okay. So check will come back up here.
All right, so the recognition period is June, July, and August. Okay, so obviously this is not updated, but you can check. I think this is into July. So obviously, if you're close, you can check some of the people that are on POL, or the bottom where you can. So we have a week left, right? And the biggest thing in the world is walking the stage at the Fast Start School. All right, I mean it's if you can start competing locally and you get near the top, then you're going to start competing nationally. If you start competing nationally, right, you're creating the right track record and environment for your future team to have a base shot, right? So top 10 personal recruiters, okay? Right now, number 10 has 8. So 1, Tony and Shabnam Reyna, 2, Tina Hall, tied for 2, Shondell and Mike Doby. 4, Jen Lee, 5, Sophia, tied at 5, Peter and Tia with 9. And then the rest are tied with 7, Kayvon Ashley, Stephen Hill, Anthony, Sabrina Malone, Josh Perez, and Chris Tonkim and Anna Bajou. Top 5 district recruiting teams. We may go to top 10 but top 5 will get the hardware. Number 1, Tina Hall. Number 2, Nelly DeVille. This is 12, 11 with 9 recruits, Kayvon Ashley, Stephen Hill. 8, Kim and Alex Uribe. And tied with 5 with 7 recruits, Eddie and Onye Hogan and Rod and Tony Harris. Top 5 division recruiting teams. Number 1, Josh Perez with 25. Number 2, Randall and Eva Segul, 18. Jay and Dominique Stewart, 17. 4, Peter and Tia Tran, 13. Tied with number 5, Joel Avila and Therese Rodriguez with 8. Tied at 5. Top 5 regionals. Number 1, Shondell and Mike, 50. Number 2, Jen Lee, 35. 3, Corinne Giles, 19. 4, Christopher Tonkin and Ann Bajou, 16. And 5, Kelvin and Elizabeth McLean. Top 10 RVP recruiting teams. Base shop number 1, Samir number 2 is 67. And Sophia, you are number 9, 26. And George and Bessie, 24. So you're in there. Top 10 personal premium. Number 1, Hector Lazo, 24,000. 2, Marcel and Vanessa Russell, 21,000. 3, Moose and Jill Krause, 19,000. 4, Jen Lee, 18,000. 5, Sheila Bustamante, 16,000. 6, Tony Reyna, 13. Number 9, Shondell and Mike Doby, 10,300. Number 10, Peter and Tia Tran, 10,245. District premium teams, district and below. Wendy Vargas and Nuris Tavares, 7,000. Number 3, 5,200, Agina Watts. Number 4, Maurice, 5,100. And Precious, number 5, 5,000. Top 5 division premium teams. Sheila Bustamante, 15,800. 2, Peter and Tia Tran, 15,463. 3, Randall and Eva Segul, 11,800. 4, Jay and Dominique Stewart, 11,100. 5, Sharnita Bryce, 11,000. Sheila. I'm looking, I don't see Donald. Or Josh. You on here?
That's as of end of July.
So if I look now, you'll be on the top 5, right?
No, I'm asking, is that as of end of July?
I don't know if it's end of July, sometime in July. But so you can add what, 5,200 to June and July. 5, top 5 regionals. Number 1, Jen Lee, 34,000. 2, Marcel and Vanessa Russell, 26,000. 3, Shondell and Mike Doby, 24,000. Elena and Augusto Fernandez, 10,000. Christopher Tonkin, 9,800. Top 10 RVPs. Base shop 1, 58,000. 2, Samir, 52,000. Number 9, T and Shay Felton, 23,000. Top 10 personal investment volume. Number 9, Nick Vidal. Number 10, Carlene, 240,000. Top 10 RVP. Number 6, we're number 6. Sophia, you're number 8. All right. Got a week left. I'll try to get the updated numbers. We have a big training tomorrow. Our last Saturday in this office. And move on to bigger and better. All right. And no Friday. So our last training is tomorrow. Is here. All right. I'll see everybody tomorrow. All right. Team 1, 3, 1, 2, 3.